Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk about the midzone specifically. This is, in my opinion, the most important zone. In handwriting analysis, there are three zones corresponding to our three processing centers: head, heart, and gut. The head thinks, assesses situations, looks to the future, and checks what-if scenarios. Distortions in this zone reveal psychological anxieties. The gut is where we store our memories regarding actions, taking, and experiences. Distortions in this zone reveal our physical, sexual, and material anxieties. This is also referred to as behavioral anxiety. The heart connects our thought processes via the actions taken to our experiences and memories. And so the heart decides whether a thought should be acted upon. This is why we say, I have a change of heart, and decisions must feel good. The best decisions are quote unquote heartfelt. The midzone reflects on our social anxiety. Distortions in the three zones are represented by the three furies: shame, fear, and guilt. Shame for our personal value system. I am different. I'm gay. I may be amoral. Why do I not fit in? And will that affect me being accepted? In the midzone, it's fear for rejection and not belonging. And in the lower zone, guilt over my desires or for what I have done. Fear is the strongest emotion and the biggest inhibitor. This makes the midzone arguably the most important zone. The midzone is the here and now, the present, where we are in the moment. It represents the mundane, routine, our everyday life. The midzone is therefore very important because it reflects on the now. It also reveals how we see ourselves in society as a whole, and whether we feel accepted, rejected, or condemned. And that leads to social anxiety, which returns in handwriting as distortions or overly controlled writing. Midzone writers have a strong emphasis on the midzone. They live in the here and now. They live in the present. The lack of upper zone implies limitations in philosophical inclination, personal value evaluations, and with it comes limitation in psychological anxiety. There is no upper zone, no psychological anxiety. The lack of lower zone structures imply limited emotional attachment to experiences. Casey Anthony led two detectives to her non-existing employer and even introduced them to her department. She was cool as a kitten and quote unquote emotionally detached. Relatively small midzones are as compared to the upper and lower zones suggest someone with lower social capacity. In other words, the midzone is not present, meaning the heart is not present. And the heart, or how I feel about decisions, is a smaller limiting force. Strong downstrokes with a small midzone implies impulsivity, since the heart is not an inhibiting factor. Richard Ramirez was an out-of-control, hedonistic Satanist. Another writer with a small midzone. The difference with the previous example is the lack of strong and decisive downstrokes. This suggests someone who feels limited in social settings, and Einstein was indeed a thinker and a loner. Instability in the midzone suggests the writer feels socially rejected. This instability is seen in the size, width, letter formation, and spacing variations. Somehow they feel rejected. They feel they do not fit in, and they are typically self-loathing, unable to answer the question, why do they not like me? This handsome young man, seemingly average and normal, is Dylan Klebold. He is one of the two infamous Columbine shooters. His handwriting showed us he was significantly troubled. A midzone that is overly controlled is also not good. These writers are mechanical, perfectionistic, and unyielding. They tend to lack flexibility, they lack spontaneity, and their emotional responses tend to be flat due to overthinking about how they feel. These writers fear doing wrong. Brian David Mitchell, a religious zealot, kidnapped Elizabeth Smart. He did not speak in court and suddenly started singing hymns. And so the midzone is a very important handwriting analysis indicator. Distortions in the midzone reflect on social anxiety and fear for rejection and condemnation. Pay attention to the midzone. It is an important indicator and tells us a whole lot whether somebody feels troubled or not. This is especially important for parents and teachers.